Holly thought for a minute. I remember when I was smaller, going out with you one cold night in winter to see the full moon. You took a plate of stew and a mug of tea. I thought it seemed a bit strange to eat outside, but you left the food out on a stump. You said you were feeding Grandmother Moon. Yes, Holly, that was the full moon of Abuga Najit, said Auntie. Our ancestors fed Grandmother Moon to give thanks for the food and drink the Mother Earth provides to our people. Do you remember doing the same thing with Grandpa as well? Yes, I do. But why do we feed Grandmother Moon in winter when it's so cold outside? Asked Holly. We do this, said Auntie, because the end of winter is traditionally the most difficult time of the year when our stored food is running out. We give thanks and look forward to the spring when the animals return and wild plants begin to grow again. There is a certain magic in the way the moon consistently and constantly shows up for us in our lives. We are bound by the cycles of the moon here on Earth, but bound in a way that makes our life here richer if we decide to live in tune with the moon and all of the seasons of life. We are able to connect more deeply with ourselves, our surroundings, and everything that encompasses this great life when we choose to slow down, fall into the rhythms that exist naturally within the world, upon this earth, and in this universe. Perhaps now is a good time to be slow, to sit in a nice place that feels comfortable, to connect with our surroundings. Perhaps read a book, gaze at the sky, sit near the shores of the ocean or some other body of water that will connect you to the water that exists within your body. Rolling in like the clouds that come before a storm, she showed up, not without notice, but definitely without a fuss. As Grace does not make a fuss nor stir the pot or shake things up, she arrives rather quietly, making herself known by a new feeling in our hearts. Gentle, tender, a strength that is palpable but without force. Inside, a reckoning begins to take place. The face changes slowly, akin to the phases of the moon, shifting from one to the next without any kind of grand hurrah, just moving with the seasons, leaving one place for the next. Grace comes with me as I let myself be taken. Grace transforms me, no longer mistaken by what I thought I was to become. Not shaken, not stirred. I decide to transform with grace. Be careful what you say, they say, or so I have heard. Our words create our reality, they say, or so I have been told. Speak it into being, they say, or so I have read. Let the heart take the lead, I say, today and tomorrow and the next. Support the heart with the will, I say. Let them find their harmony inside of you. outside of what you thought you knew. Use your voice as an instrument to become well, in wholeness and in health. I let these words be filled with the tender potency of what it means to live with intention. I mention this because I know I am casting a spell into my own world and the universe at large with every word I speak, with every word I write, with all the words that frequent my lips, my energy vibrating out into the ethers to be picked up and carried to faraway places. Let there be love and faith and grace and forgiveness. Let there be love and faith and grace and forgiveness. Let there be love and faith and grace and forgiveness. Over and under, life carried me away. Where are you taking me? I ask. Over and under is the reply. Life picks me up and carries me away. Each breath is a metaphoric step into the next. Each blink of an eye is the simple way to transition through space. Sometimes I try to erase a tiny thing of the past, but it never seems to work. Memories still etched into the place in my mind, in the bank of memories that wax and wane, but somehow, sometimes, quite often, lodge themselves into the very cells that have become me. And so I become still, because I know, without a doubt, life will come until it no longer does, over and under, spiraling in and out, lighting up spaces once in the dark, casting shadows where once clarity was thought to be had. Life carried me away, and yet, here I still am in this moment today. I drop into the knowing of me by releasing the knowing of you. I hold all in a simple and profound embrace that ties no one and nothing to anything other than themselves, and the love that binds us all as we weave our stories together and under and over and around the layers of existence. I hear the sound of expansion as hearts drop into themselves and effortlessly beat in unison with the pulse of the universe. Dreams become undone and reworked as beauty and grace find their way into the crevices of unchecked and unmarked places within the human spirit. Rather than quitting, we stay tuned to the harmony of what it means to commit to oneself and to life itself. We come alive in the presence of one another and continue to make room for all that is to come. Breathe in and then out, shifting realities as air enters lungs and veins move blood, blessed with the sweet nectars of life. Honey drips from the branches, and lips find themselves reaching towards others who share in the quest for being in ways that give way to the practical desires of the heart. We shift and move, we dance and weave, We strip ourselves bare as the trees bask in the glory of who we are in the wild form of humanity. We recognize the connections between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3, and we see how we are not separate from nature, but rather completely intertwined, just like our hands, as our fingers find comfort in the way they fit, as we loosen our grip and create space for the infinite grace of lovers in a time of complex change. We rearrange the constructs of our minds so we may see beyond the conditioned ways that have kept us tethered to lives that no longer make sense. There is immense liberation when we can immerse ourselves in the joy of opening to that which is beyond our comprehension. Did I mention? Expansive freedom is who I am. It is me in the entirety of my awakened soul. It is the gold that glows from behind my eyes as I learn the wise ways of days gone past and days to come. Presently present, I walk into what it means to be. Expansive freedom. This is me. Thank you for joining me in this cozy little moment of mine as I sit by this beautiful hearth altar that I created in honor of the goddess Brigid, who is a pagan Irish goddess of fire and the sun, and a goddess who is celebrated at this time, specifically on February 1st, for the coming of spring and fertility and the return of the light that we are experiencing here in the northern hemisphere as it slowly returns. So I created this beautiful ode to Brigid and fire and all things that warm the heart and bring a sense of warmth, I suppose, to us in this time where we are moving towards spring and finding our own inner fire again. I wanted to talk a little bit about different things in this video and how I feel like they relate to each other. So it began with the introduction of the Mi'kmaq Moon book, which I wanted to bring forward to this audience, to all of you, because it's a very special book, especially if you are residing in the Mi'kmaq territory, which I am, which is also known as Nova Scotia on the east coast of Canada, or the east coast of Turtle Island, as it is more known in its ancient name. The moon that we are actually under right now, which tonight as I record this is the full moon, the snow blinding moon, which I feel is quite connected to my own pagan ancestral roots, which reach back to Ireland and England and are embedded in the Celtic realms of things. And so, as I just talked about, the goddess Brigid, who is the goddess of fire and that warmth and light, I've been exploring, I guess, in my own ways, how those two entities are so strongly connected. And that's been a big part of what's been in my sphere of thoughts lately. I want to mention a little bit about why I choose to connect with the moon through the Mi'kmaq traditions. I was born here where I am currently residing again, and I feel really just deeply rooted to the land. It wasn't until I moved away from here that I started to learn a little bit more about the indigenous roots of this land. And so when I came back, I really wanted to make sure that I connected with the wisdom of the land from an indigenous perspective. So combining my love of the moon in general and my commitment to live in tune with the moon, I felt like connecting with the moon through the Mi'kmaq stories and traditions was going to be very beneficial. And I wanted to share it with all of you because maybe it will be beneficial to you too. The book that I shared, which I have right next to me here again, is such a beautiful book. The illustrations are beautiful and the stories are just really enjoyable to read. There are many of them and it goes through all the seasons of this land. It is written by Kathy LeBlanc and David Chapman and illustrated by Loretta Gould, done in the perspective of two eyes vision, and that is to say that it combines the indigenous perspective as well as a more modern science as well. So it merges indigenous stories with a bit of astronomy. I think I'm explaining that properly to the best of my ability and knowledge anyhow. And I just highly recommend getting your hands on this book if you have the opportunity. Yeah, it's just really beautiful. So as I was saying, it was important for me to connect with the moon from an indigenous perspective here on this land and to find ways to merge and meld my personal ancient ancestral roots, which, as I mentioned, reach back to Ireland and England mostly, if not completely. And yeah, just find ways to honor both of those and find my own rituals through my own roots, but then also honor the stories that exist and have existed on this land and in this area for millennia. Definitely one of my objectives with this channel and with making these videos is to hopefully spark inspiration in the people who are watching it to explore more things in their own lives and to dig deep and to delve into the mystery and into traditions and just really tap into those ancient places within ourselves that can offer so much in what it means to exist on this earth right now as a human and bring a richness into our lives that makes us live in a way that holds on to this sense of hopefulness for the future and appreciation for the present while also honoring the past. Thank you for being here right now in this moment, for watching these videos. I totally appreciate all the support and the encouragement that I've been getting, and yeah, it feels good to keep sharing and creating in this way. If you feel inclined, please subscribe to my channel. It's totally free to do so, and share this video with people who you feel it might touch or who may be inspired by it. That's it for now. Happy full moon, happy whatever it is, and if it's not happy, I hope that it is soon and that you are feeling supported and cared for and that you know that your birthright is to be well, to be nurtured, and to simply be worthy for existing here on this